Ilia Topuria is going to dominate Charles Oliveira this month. And I've been seeing a lot of people sort of hyping themselves up a little bit too much about how competitive this matchup is going to be. I think there are a lot of MMA fans that have accepted that Oliveira is probably going to lose. But again, there's lots of people that they like to just play with the idea of Charles mincing up Topuria, or this is a lot closer, or I'm worried for Topuria. Bedtime saying he's worried for Topuria. MMA Guru is wondering if Topuria's power will translate. Can he bully people at 155? And I think that what a lot of that is they're trying to make this fight seem a lot more interesting than it actually might be. Because we lost the greatest fight in UFC history between Topuria and Islam Makhachev. We lost that, and people are trying to salvage the pieces. They're trying to put things back together. How can we make Cholo's... I can't even say his name! How can we make Oliveira and Ilia Topuria seem as interesting? How can I make myself believe that this is as good? And don't get me wrong, it's awesome. It's a great fight. I absolutely love it. These are two of my favorite fighters. And it has potential to be fireworks. And even though I think Ilia Topuria is going to dominate Charles Oliveira, and I think it's just pretty obvious, he's going to knock him out badly, I think that at least Charles Oliveira represents some danger. And so before or after I tell you why he probably has no chance to win this fight, at the end of the video, I'll include some nuance. I'll say, well, okay, but I'm not a total casual. We've just done a bunch of MMA math. This is actually how Charles could at least win a fight. I could see him winning the fight. I could see it happening, but we need to be real with ourselves and understand that it doesn't make sense to expect Charles Oliveira to win this fight. And I'll tell you why. We're going to talk about whether or not Ilia Topuria's power is going to translate. We're then going to talk about if Ilia Topuria is going to be able to deal with the ranginess of Charles Oliveira. But we need to be honest, guys. If you're an Oliveira fan, I think it's time to accept it. He's not going to win this fight. I know that it would be good to see him win the belt back. I get that. But he's just not going to win. All right? And I'll tell you why. First off, Ilia Topuria's power will translate at 155 pounds. I think that if we ever needed a good litmus test to show us that a 145-pound fighter's power is going to translate at 155, I would say, well, okay, let's see if they can knock out somebody that's never been knocked out before, that's had 20-plus UFC fights, and that's literally known for having the best chin in UFC history. That's also not just like Marvin Vettori, who's totally reliant on their chin, but also one of the best strikers ever. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to even, win the fight to begin with, let alone knock them out. We saw this man knock out Max Holloway. We saw Ilia Topuria chin, the granite chin of Max Holloway, the guy that has never been knocked out in his entire life, the guy that has never even been dropped. Fair enough. Oh, Justin Gaethje sort of dropped him. It was a flash knockdown. Ilia Topuria wobbled Max Holloway badly and then chinned him and knocked him out. We've seen other fighters move up to 155. They didn't have the same power like Conor McGregor. Conor was knocking out Jose Aldo with one punch. He moves up to 155. He TKOs Eddie Alvarez, but his power wasn't the same necessarily. But if the Holloway fight does not prove that Ilia Topuria will translate, then how about actual proof? His fight with Jai Herbert, where he literally fought at 155 pounds, took the fight on short notice without having a good amount of time to bulk up for the weight class. Pair that with the fact that this is before Ilia Topuria hit his prime. This is long before he even fought Josh Emmett. Long before he fought Volkanovski. He wasn't nearly as good as he is today. And he sent Jai Herbert at 155 pounds to the Shadow Realm. It was one of the most brutal knockouts we've ever seen. A long, rangy, obviously way worse striker than Charles Oliveira. But the point that I'm making is this is power translating at 155 pounds. This is power that we've never seen before in our entire lives as MMA fans. No 145er has ever come close to knocking Max Holloway out. I've heard people say things like, he knocked out a weight-drained Max Holloway. He weight-drained him down to 145, as if this is like the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight, where Floyd Mayweather tells Conor McGregor, if you want to fight me, you got to make 147 after you just fought at 155 and 170 pounds against Nate Diaz. You got to weight-drain yourself back down to 147. You're coming into my world. That is the biggest cope if you're talking about Max Holloway being weight-drained. Okay, Holloway, granted, I understand he had just fought at 155 and bulked up a little bit, but let's be honest, that's his weight class. That's the weight class he's been fighting at for his entire career. He didn't get KO'd because he was weight drained. He got KO'd because Ilia Topuria spun his head back with insanely good footwork and never before seen power at 145. And when Max got rocked, I guarantee you a lot of other fighters would not have been able to finish the job, but because Ilia Topuria's hand speed, footwork, cardio, all are incredible, he, with the power that we talked about, was able to still put it on Max and make sure he had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and knocked him out. That's power that's translating at 155 pounds. I don't think that this is a guy that's going to go up to 155. He's going to hit people, and they're going to think to themselves, oh, I can take that. I'm going to walk right through it. This guy is going to have a speed advantage at 155 pounds. This guy is going to have a skill advantage that these plotty lightweights are not used to seeing. Now, I am joking around a little bit with saying lightweights are plotty, but let's just talk about it. Ilia Topuria is not some power puncher like Josh Emmett that just relies on a big gnarly shot. This is a guy that was going toe-to-toe with Volk and Max Holloway. I think Volk won the first round off of him, but Ilia Topuria made it extremely competitive. He arguably was going tit for tat with Volk, man. He was arguably strike for strike with him. He was right there with him. How many times have we seen Volkanovski just school people on the feet, right? Pretty much an entire round of Volkanovski striking with most of his opponents is usually him comfortably ahead. That wasn't the case with him and Topuria, which just goes to show the skill level, the speed of Ilia Topuria. Also, in the Max Holloway fight, Ilia Topuria had a couple of rounds before knocking out Max. I think Max may have won the first. I think Topuria probably won the second. The point that I'm making is Ilia Topuria was going tit for tat with the volume king, with the volume kings. Not just one, but Max Holloway and Volkanovski. Not only do we have never before seen power, not only do we have a guy that has proven that that power will translate at 155 pounds, but he's also got the skill to be competitive and win rounds off of guys like Volk and Max Holloway. This is a faster fighter than what Charles Oliveira is used to going up against. Charles Oliveira, I know he's had some really tough competition. You could say Islam Makhachev is as tough of a fight or even a slightly tougher fight for him on paper, fair enough, but Topuria is faster. Topuria is faster than Dustin Poirier. He is faster than Justin Gaethje, okay? And the fact that he didn't finish an old, washed-up Michael Chandler is just simply a bad look going into a fight with Topuria. We're talking about short, stocky guys that are going to have an issue with Charles. He's going to be rangy, right? He's going to be landing powerful jabs on the nose of Topuria. We know Charles hits hard. We know he has a long reach. He just fought a short, stocky guy that was old, with horrible fight IQ, with pretty shitty cardio, with horrible game planning for that fight because he fought super patient. We basically saw Charles Oliveira fight I can't even say Walmart, a homeless version of Ilia Topuria in his last fight. And he did dominate. We can't say that he didn't. He did dominate the fight. But the point is, I think it's pretty clear that the way that Charles wins this fight is most likely by finishing Ilia Topuria and catching him with a left hook, with a knee, with an elbow, rocking him and then subbing him, rocking him and clubbing him, club and sub, or just knocking him out. He had wild Michael Chandler in front of him that's old and washed, that fought patient and gun shy. That's Michael Chandler with not even a tenth of the footwork and boxing of Ilia Topuria. He's got power. He's got pop. You got to give him that. He can't deliver it. He can't deliver the goods. He can't get the punch to the chin. He doesn't have the skill. He doesn't have the combos. He doesn't have the head movement. Okay? And I know Charles showed improved wrestling. And you know what? We'll talk about what Charles can do, because I have always said Charles has underrated wrestling. The point that I'm making is Paddy Pimblett just butchered Michael Chandler and basically turned him into mincemeat. And fair enough, that was an even older version of Michael Chandler, right? I understand that. But Charles couldn't get Chandler out of there. I don't think that's the best look. And it is possible. And this is why I'm a little bit worried making a video like this, because we've seen time and time again, fighters have these sorts of fights where, oh, we couldn't finish Josh Emmett. How is he going to finish Volk, right? And then he goes out there and finishes Volk. Now, I didn't say that. I picked him to finish Volk. But I could understand Charles still winning against Topuria. It's MMA math. We're doing MMA math. That's what we're doing in this video. I'm having a good time doing it too. This is a short, stocky, way less skilled, way chinnier version of Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria's chin at 145. I remember I was saying Volk's leg kicks are going to get to him because he stands heavy on the lead leg. He's got that bladed stance. Volk's leg kicks did fuck all to Ilia Topuria. Max Holloway was landing clean, lean and mean on Ilia Topuria. He was landing clean 1-2s on the chin of Ilia Topuria. Okay? Nothing. Volk. Remember when Volk cracked him with a good counter shot and said, oh, I got you there. And then Ilia Topuria said, my time will come soon. Well, when he said, oh, I got you there, that punch did nothing to Ilia. Ilia Topuria has a granite chin. He had one moment in his career where he got rocked by Jai Herbert with a kick that he didn't see coming, which goes to show that no matter how good your chin is, if you do not see a shot coming, you can get knocked out. And also, Holloway fucking saw the right hand coming. I'll tell you that. He couldn't do nothing about it, which that wasn't the shot he didn't see coming, and he still got knocked out. But the point that I'm making is Topuria has a granite chin at 145. We know that your chin gets better because you don't have a harsh weight cut. So you have more hydration in the brain. You're more hydrated. Topuria with a granite chin, insane durability, where he gets hit with these strikes at 145, clean on the chin, and they don't affect him at all. It's going to be even better at 155 pounds. And now we talk about, Charles Oliveira. I know, man, there's this idea that people are getting, he's going to be piecing up Ilia Topuria and all that. He looked slow against Michael Chandler. I think Oliveira's striking has declined. I think his wrestling has gotten better. I think his fight IQ has gotten better. His defense has gotten better. Some things have gotten better. I think Oliveira's speed and his striking has declined because he looked slow against Michael Chandler. Okay? And yes, he dominated. We can't say he didn't, but he didn't finish him. Even in this fight where I think Oliveira's striking was better. Remember, he was throwing the flying knee combos at Justin Gaethje. He was checking all of the leg kicks against Justin Gaethje. Did really well with that. I think that was prime Oliveira striking. He was the fastest he's ever been in these fights. Specifically the one with Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. Super fast. I think he's gotten a little bit slower as he's aged. Maybe picked up a couple of more injuries. But even that version of Oliveira that was a little bit speedier on the feet. This is against Rufus. This is against Gaethje, who we know doesn't hit as hard as Ilia Topuria. Wow. What do you mean he doesn't hit as hard as Ilia Topuria? Did Gaethje knock out Max Holloway? No, but he wasn't skilled enough. Skill's different than that. Okay, but let's be honest. How many people were Gaethje sending to the fucking Shadow Realm, aside from, James Vick, who's known for having no chin? Ilia Topuria probably cracks harder than Justin Gaethje. Okay, this is a stupid debate. We're getting off track. The skill level of Justin Gaethje. The guy that I've nicknamed Rufus is piecing him up and dropping him on the deck like a fish. If Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, now Dustin is in a different category, but if Rufus, a guy that you can't deny that he's a good striker, but it still makes you scratch your head and wonder how this guy is beating people with finesse on the feet. He doesn't have finesse. He's beating people that are finesse strikers. It just makes you scratch your head sometimes. Let's be honest, he's a good striker. It's Gaethje, though. He's not even in the same fucking ballpark when it comes to boxing skill, when it comes to footwork, and when it comes to head movement, and even chin. I know Gaethje's not got a paper chin. I know that he's got a pretty okay chin. Ilia Topuria's boxing, his lighter man skill and speed, the footwork, the fucking combinations. You want to see Justin Gaethje in the pocket? You want to see Ilia Topuria in the pocket? Cue the fucking music that he walks out to. The Matador music. Okay? And see him land a 1-2, step through, boom, boom. You know? Come on, son! No. But listen, guys. It's not gonna go well. Rufus, Justin Gaethje is in there. I don't want to hear. No, but we know it's going to be tough for him to get to Oliveira. Not when Justin Gaethje is doing it, and he's landing clean. And I know this is before Oliveira improved his defense. I understand that this was not patient Oliveira. I get it. Subtract patient Oliveira. Add in patient Oliveira. Okay? Let's see the improved defense, the high guard. Ilia Topuria will be the thing to make it equal again. He's getting dropped. It's going to happen. If Justin Gaethje, with his eyes closed, looking at the ground and then the ceiling on his second shot, is dropping Oliveira, Ilia Topuria is going to find this guy's chin. Ilia is going to find it. Okay? Charles Oliveira against Dustin Poirier. We all know that was a great first round, just like this one. Okay? We all know it was a great first round. Dustin rocked him. That's even before he dropped him. He rocked him. And then he dropped him. He was piecing him up with the hands. I know Oliveira was doing great work with the clinch knees, and that was a competitive round, but Poirier landed like 55 significant strikes to Oliveira's head. And, but that's Dustin Poirier. That's big Dustin at lightweight. Dude, Dustin Poirier, when he was a featherweight, wasn't knocking people out like Topuria. And we don't talk about, his power never translated. He got more powerful at 155. Dustin Poirier, with grandma hips, he's a great boxer. This is not an example like Justin Gaethje. He's a great boxer, I get it. But Dustin Poirier, who is slower and does not have the footwork and finesse of Topuria, still was piecing up a faster version of Charles Oliveira so badly. He was dropping them all over the place. And you may say, but what happened after he subbed Justin Gaethje? He then submitted Dustin Poirier. So what's your point? This is what happens when you get dropped by somebody like Ilia Topuria. That is the difference. That is the difference. If you get dropped by Justin Gaethje, he is going to avoid you like the plague on the ground. If you get dropped by Dustin Poirier, and this is after Poirier has come up short to Khabib, he's going to realize that's not the path of least resistance. That is not in the game plan. I'm not going to the ground with this guy. This is what happens if he gets dropped by Topuria. He is not going to have not a second to recover. Ilia Topuria will jump on him. And even though you could have an argument in saying that people make too much about his ground game, they overhype it because he has this jiu-jitsu background. But yeah, what have we really seen in the UFC? He got taken down against Mitchell and held down for a minute. Even though we did see him submit Bryce Mitchell after we saw him take down Max Holloway, we did see him beat up Josh Emmett on the ground. I understand that he's not proven to be this Goliath on the ground like he has proven to be amazing on the feet. I understand that, but at the end of the day, Ilia Topuria does have great wrestling. He does have the lighter man skill, and he does have the ability to pull something like this off. If he drops Charles Oliveira brutally, he will jump on him immediately and has a good chance to get the submission. That's the difference between Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. And I'm sorry, but if I know we're doing MMA math here, and I love doing MMA math, and that's why I'm doing MMA math in this video. If you've got Justin Gaethje dropping Charles Oliveira 2 or 3 times in the first round, Ilia Topuria in his prime at 28 years old versus a slightly aged and slightly slower Charles Oliveira is going to make Charles, who couldn't finish Michael Chandler in his last outing and looked a little bit slow in that fight, he's going to make him look slow as fuck and plotty, and he is going to land that right hand easily. I am telling you right now, he is going to knock him out. He is going to sleep him, or he is going to drop him and sub him. That is what is going to happen, okay? And that power is going to translate. Again, I know that there are some arguments to be made about how this could be actually a little bit more of a trickier fight than what I'm telling you, okay, or what a lot of people's initial reaction to this is. And although I said that a part of that is I think people are trying to make this fight seem a little bit more interesting because they're trying to salvage what we lost, and what we lost was Ilia versus Makhachev, 2 extremely well-rounded, top of the food chain, pound for pound number 1 versus pound for pound number 2. It's obviously that was the better fight. But I understand there are still reasons to think that Oliveira can, get himself an upset, and this could be dangerous, and maybe Topuria at lightweight is not the same monster. I understand that. I get that. But I do disagree with the power thing. I do disagree with that his power will not translate. This guy's power is going to translate because his speed is going to translate. That's what we see when guys move up. They are faster than the fighters in the division above them. The one time we didn't see a fighter have like this insane advantage was when Adesanya moved up, and also I wasn't even going to mention Adesanya moving up, but I forgot about him versus Blachowicz. But Volk and Makhachev were pretty competitive on the feet, right? And Volk showed that actually it was the grappling, that lighter man skill grappling, the Craig Jones specific, that these lightweights, they weren't up to par with him on. So he was able to test Makhachev, but Makhachev is different than Oliveira. Makhachev's more calculated, right? And he's a better counter striker. He's got better defense, and he's got better wrestling. I just think he's overall better everywhere than Charles. And I think that, we saw Volk struggle with Makhachev. We saw a 45er struggle a little bit on the feet with Makhachev, but Charles has always had iffy defense. And I can't be the only one that's noticed that his speed has declined a little bit on the feet. And I didn't mention this, but this is that brother-brother style. I know that Topuria doesn't have the brother-brother energy that a Makhachev has or an Arman has. I mean, even Arman, right? Arman's Armenian, and, I think he's maybe he was born in Georgia, I don't know, but I know he's Armenian. Arman has the brother-brother style. He has the brother-brother style of speaking, and he has the brother-brother style of wrestling. That, too, gives Charles Oliveira issues. Charles Oliveira gets backed up by Arman Tsarukyan, who's the same height. That's another thing we have to talk about. Arman Tsarukyan is 5'7". That's right. Without the power of Ilia Topuria, without the footwork, and without the ridiculous hand speed and combinations. And he's pushing Oliveira back with a jab. And I understand you could say, well, he's bigger than Topuria, and he is bigger than Topuria, and he may have more presence about him when he's moving you back and he's threatening the wrestling, and you know that if he takes you down, he can establish a more dominant top position and elbow you into the ground. I understand that. Maybe Oliveira will be less respectful of the grappling of Topuria, but the point that I'm making is we just saw a 5'7" short guy in Arman Tsarukyan push back Charles Oliveira with, I'm not going to say he has pillow hands, but with average Joe power. As much as I like Arman Tsarukyan's fight style, as much as I think he's good, he's got average Joe power, okay? Even I'm cracking harder than Arman. But listen, 5'7" Arman's pushing him back. I know we talk about Oliveira as the guy that fought Justin Gaethje and sent him flying across the octagon. That's what I expected in the Arman fight, and I was disappointed. I didn't see Oliveira open up on the feet. I didn't see him throw strikes. Round 3, he's arguably down in the fight. He got beat up in round 2. May have lost round 1. It's round 3. I'm like, okay, Oliveira, it's time. It's time to punch a hole through this guy's head. We barely saw a single punch. Saw a couple of body kicks. It's like, yeah, that's the last thing you need, a frickin' body kick in the 3rd round against Arman Tsarukyan when he's piecing you up with the jab. When Charles Oliveira starts to struggle a little bit, I think he shells up a bit against these guys, these brothers. I think he shells up. Topuria is somebody that not only is going to have a different speed, a different level of finesse, skill on the feet, and power that Oliveira is not used to. He's going to have the lighter man skill in the grappling when it comes to the technique. Guys, I think I'm making a pretty good case. I know that, oh, what a hot take. He's picking Ilia Topuria. I'm just telling you, I don't think this fight is as competitive as people have been making it out to be in the past couple of weeks. There's a lot of energy behind the idea that, wait a second, not so fast. We've got something here. This fight is actually super competitive. I don't think it is. I think Ilia Topuria is going to make Charles Oliveira look slow. I think he's going to knock him out in the 1st round. But let's get on to what Charles can do. Listen, Oliveira has shown that his wrestling has improved over the years. I've always said that he's a good wrestler. Even before he fought Makhachev, I was going back watching his old fights, seeing him use the blast double leg and, actually ragdolling people. And we saw him use his wrestling against Michael Chandler recently. I think his wrestling is actually pretty good, and I think that he will be bigger than Ilia Topuria, okay? And I think that it's worth a shot for Charles Oliveira to go out there and shoot a takedown on Ilia and just drag him up against the fence, clinch him, try to get a body lock, and just manhandle him to the ground a little bit. Do I think it'll work? I don't know. I don't think that he's going to have great success, but I'm just saying it's worth a try. It's better than going out there trying to strike with Topuria. Bro, strike with Topuria. Topuria got pieced up by Volk. Yeah, Volk pieced him up. Holloway pieced him up. We saw what Holloway did to Justin Gaethje. Because I know there's still people that are saying, dude, Topuria always looks like he got in a war after his fights. What do you think Oliveira's going to do to him? He just knocked out Max Holloway, who butchered Justin Gaethje and schooled Gaethje. Nobody has ever made Gaethje look that bad on the feet and that useless on the feet before. It's a different fucking level. I think Oliveira can utilize his takedowns. I think he could utilize the takedown. I think that if he gets on top of Ilia Topuria, I think he can, use his ground and pound, his control, maybe take his back, bank the 1st round, take the wind out of Ilia Topuria's sails, and hope that we see a more slowed down Ilia Topuria in round 2, where Oliveira can start getting into the fight a little bit on the feet. I think that's Oliveira's way to win this fight. Or, obviously, he can go out there and land a big hook. Ilia Topuria is not immune to making mistakes. He does get hit in fights. He's not someone that's totally untouchable, even though we have seen fights with him and Josh Emmett where he can take that approach. Ilia Topuria can take that true matador approach. He's not always been the bully. Ilia Topuria has shown us that he can slip, dip, and rip. He can make you miss in the pocket, man. He can go Matrix mode, man. So we could see that too. But I'm just saying 2nd round Topuria might be a little bit slower with the added weight, and maybe Oliveira can get into it a little bit and land himself a nice knockout in the round number 2. But I think that's what it's going to be. I think Oliveira is most likely going to have to get himself a nice takedown. He's going to have to keep it in round 1. And I think he's going to have to knock him out round 2, or maybe round 1, he's just going to have to catch Ilia Topuria slipping. He's just going to have to catch him. So that's what I think. I'm giving you guys my honest take, okay? I'm giving you guys my honest take. I know Oliveira, he's good. He's slower. This is not Max Holloway with one of the best jabs in MMA that's going to be out there just making him pay, while Topuria is moving his head off the center line, right? I don't think these lightweights know what's coming. I think that the one lightweight that's going to give him an issue is maybe Arman, but if Makhachev moves back down, he'll give him an issue. You need someone like Makhachev who's nasty in the clinch, who's just that extra level of strength more than Oliveira, that has much better defense, right? That has, pretty crispy boxing and good counter skills, and that has, in my opinion, a better wrestling game and an even better submission game. So I think that was the guy that gives Topuria that 50-50. I think Oliveira can catch him. I'm not saying he can't win, but I'm saying, guys, I don't think you can pick it. I don't think you can expect it. And if you're an Oliveira fan, I think it's time to accept it, that he might lose. He probably will. And that it's okay. He's already had a great career. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a rough one for Charles Oliveira. If he gets the belt back, that will be incredible. That will be amazing. It'll be a shame that we don't have this 28-year-old Ilia Topuria with 5 more years left in MMA worth of superstardom, but he can still get back. But either way, it'll be a good thing for Charles Oliveira to get the belt back. It would be a pretty incredible upset, and he would prove a lot of doubters wrong, including myself. Doubters, not a hater. I mean, listen, some people are going to say, oh, you're hating on Oliveira. Why? Because I'm picking him to lose a fight? Because I'm breaking down a fight and I'm saying that one fighter knocks out the other fighter? That's hating or whatever. But, come on, I'm just breaking this down. I think Oliveira can win, but he won't. And I'm confident he won't. Because I'm confident that Topuria is just too good. Knocking out Max Holloway is not something just to forget about. That is significant, guys. He not only had the skill to go tit for tat with him, but he had the power to put that guy's lights out. That guy's lights have never been put out. And it has translated. This is what we saw when he went to 155. And that was when he was a tadpole. That was when he was going out there with 50% less skill. Now imagine he's got 50% more skill with the confidence of a guy that just knocked out 2 all-time greats. And he's going in there against a guy that couldn't finish Michael Chandler that's just slower and older. I'm picking Ilia. I think he's going to get it done. First round KO or second round KO. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next